Hi friends, I'm an international storyteller. I'm Sherin and I'm doing my hardtail 4 today. It's taken me some amount of courage to tell the story. The story is again my story, and I really sincerely hope that this story helps people, helps a lot of people. Maybe they'll be identify with what I'm saying. Just like any other normal girl in any part of the world, not any girl, but most of the girls, okay, the majority of the girls, or the majority of children, are raised to believe that, of course, family is everything and is very important. But no matter what happens in the family, we cannot go and speak it out to anybody. No matter what happens to you, whether you are hurt or whether you are falling sick because of it, you just can't speak to anybody about it, because it's a question of honor of your family. But in a way, it tells us it doesn't matter what's happening to you. In a way, it tells us we are not important enough to take care of our emotions and feelings. I wish it were different. When we have a small fever or we have a cut, we put a band-aid. We have a fever, we take a crocin. We don't sit with the fever for days, is it? But when something goes wrong emotionally in our life, we are trained to be quiet. So when a lot of things started going wrong in my life, now see, I'm not telling this story to defame anybody. I take the onus of everything in my life and responsibility for everything that is happening in my life. I am really telling this story so that somebody gets some help. I really hope it heals somebody. So I was this closed person. I didn't talk about anything, even when I thought, oh my God, what the hell is going on? But I could not speak. I always gave a picture of a beautiful, happy life, when inside I was overcome with grief. I was sad. I was depressed. So for all of you who keep on complimenting me for various things that I'm doing in my life and all the things that are going great in my life, including my storytelling and my other professional commitments and all that I'm doing in my life, and who feel that there is nothing wrong and Sherin is living a dream life, I want to tell you that I'm a very regular, normal human being and probably have gone more downs than most of you. I also have my bad days. I also have days when I cry myself to sleep. I also have days when I feel lost, which is less actually now. But I've had days when I was completely zapped. I was completely lost and I didn't know what to do. I was so depressed. I used to sit in one corner of the sofa, the entire day without eating or doing anything. And then at night I used to go back to bed and sleep. I have done this for a long time. I have not slept for years, I feel. There was also a point of time when I felt so depressed and I didn't know how to numb my pain. And I knew that if I don't get sleep for so many days at a stretch, something can happen to me. I might go insane. So I thought drinking might solve it. So one day there was some whiskey in my house and I tried drinking it. And I'm not a person who smokes or drinks. So that was the first day I discovered I had an allergy to alcohol. That was really funny. My fingers swelled up and I had itching all over my body. In fact, I had drunk I think half a glass, that was it. And it turned out to be such an embarrassing moment of my life. I had to go to a doctor and he gave me an injection to subside my itching, and I had to tell him what I did. That was so embarrassing. So I actually cannot drink. So that was the day I realized I cannot. And now I cannot drink. Now I could not drink, and I could not go to a counter and get a sleeping pill. I really didn't know what to do. So in spite of a lot of things that were happening with me, I was not able to open up to anybody or say anything. I was afraid. I was ashamed. That is it. I was afraid, I was ashamed, and I thought, oh my God, what are they going to think about? It was impossible. I could not talk to anybody about anything that was happening to me. So it went on for years and years and years. And then one fine day, and I must tell you that I am a person who never falls sick. I never fall sick. And there were two times in my life that I have fallen sick, actually, very badly. And my friends Raji and Neeraj have taken me to the hospital. I called them up and said, there's nobody to take me to the hospital. So they actually came and took me. I'm very grateful to them. Raji is my college friend. So after so long of not being able to speak, I started bleeding. And I have never had a gynecological problem ever in my life. And my family, that is my parents and my friends, told me, Sherin, you have to go and see a doctor. When it was almost a month, more than a month, I was bleeding. And I knew this is not period. This is something else. It was terrible. I was flowing like a tap. And it was painful. I could not walk. But still I was working and functioning as normally as I could. Because I had done NLP just a few months back. Just a year back, not months. And I knew Dick. Dick is our trainer, and that's how he likes to be addressed. His real name is Dr. Sherin Mathews. He's one of the founders and pioneers of NLP with Fritz Perls. And he was the NLP trainer. If anybody had to do NLP, they have to do it with Dick. I would really tell you. He was a very spiritual person. He never did a business NLP or a relationship NLP. He did NLP for your life. He said, if you want to do these things, then you can walk out. My NLP is for you and for nothing else. Not for your work, not for your business, not for anything else. And it was really transformational. When you say transformational, it was really transformational. It was only after being with Dick that I got some strength of some sort. I did my basic and masters with him, but then it was when I started bleeding that I really felt like I will wait for Dick whenever he comes to India back. I want to do my NLP health with him. There were only 2 courses which I had not done. I had done all his other courses, just all NLP and everything. So I waited for another month. He was going to come after a month. So it was 2 months of bleeding. So I was supposed to do NLP in health and tools of the spirit with him. When we went to NLP in health, it was very difficult. The room was full of men and priests, and I had to change every 2 hours. It was very difficult. I was crying inside, but I had to do what I had come here for. Because when people told me go to a doctor, I knew that a doctor cannot solve this problem. This is from inside me. It is not my body which is bleeding, but it is my mind that is bleeding. It is my emotions that are bleeding. It is my spirit that is bleeding, which has got manifested into my body. And I need to work at the core. Taking medicines or getting diagnosed by something which needs an operation and all of that in the future would not help me. So I did this, I went to him, and once this NLP in health was over, we had started with tools of the spirit. The last day of NLP in health, we all come up and give our testimonials. So when it was my turn, I came, I took a mic, and it was really not planned. I didn't think that I'm going to tell my story that day over there in front of 70 people. We had a huge auditorium and there were 70 people over there. Mostly they were all men. And I took the mic, and I don't know how I got the courage to tell this to Dick. I told him, Dick, whatever you did till now has not affected me at all. And then I took the mic and I told my entire story to all the people who were sitting over there. I was really trembling, and my fingers are still trembling. I told the entire story. I was crying, I was sobbing, but I told everybody I'm crying, but I need to say this. I need to tell this. I need to let it out. So a girl who has not told her story for her entire life, actually when she said it in front of an auditorium full of people, a hall full of people. There was pin drop silence. I spoke for a long time and Dick allowed me. Usually he tells people the time's up, and everybody was listening to everything that I had to say. And after it was over, I looked at Dick and I said, this is my story and now you have to help me. So I was looking at him and he was looking at me. We stared at each other for some time, and then he said, Sherin, are you ready? When he said, are you ready? I really didn't know what he meant by, are you ready? But I said yes, because I was. Whatever it was, I was ready to do whatever it took. So I said yes, and he said, you choose somebody with whom you can do shadow work. So shadow work is a process in NLP in health, in tools of the spirit. So I said, okay, Deepti. Deepti had come from US. She was a doctor and she was a friend of mine. They were all strangers except my friend Malsi, and I was too close to her, so I thought I'll do it with Deepti. She had done NLP with me. So Deepti also got ready to do it for me. When the session for the day was over, we sat back and she worked on me. It was a 1.5 hour process altogether. And I just cannot explain what an experience it was. I had to identify my shadow, and the shadow that I identified inside me was a black cross. I'm into karate and I used to do this nunchuck. So the handles of my nunchuck was made of shisham, the wood, you know. So I imagined a black shisham cross inside me. It was very fat, strong, hard like an iron, and the arms of the cross ran right into my arms. My arms are not that fat, but I could feel those fat arms of the cross inside my arms, and the entire cross was nailed inside me. Okay, it had such huge big nails, and I was bleeding. The cross was bleeding, I was bleeding, and the blood was dripping on the cross. My God, it was such a metaphor for what I was going through. And then I had to take this cross out, because as a Christian, anybody would know what it means to have a cross in your life. And I felt like, my God, I'm carrying such a heavy cross that is nailed right inside me. And when you have to take this cross, you have to be very careful that you don't disturb it or break it in any way. So it took me about 15 minutes. Though it's an imaginary process inside your head, it still took me more than 15 minutes just to take it out slowly. And you know, when I was taking it out, you know, if you have a raw skin, how does that feel? You have a sound. So I could feel it on my raw skin inside my body, and it was coming out. And finally, when it was out, I had to not throw it or do anything bad to it, but I had to put it in the right place. And Dipti said, look at your left and up. That's the place where this cross should be. And it was a mystic experience. When I looked up, on the left, sorry, up and left. So when I looked up, I saw actually a cross, and it's strange that I saw a cross again. It was made of light, so there was no defined boundary to it. It was simply light, and I had to place this cross on that light. And when I placed it over there, it stayed there happily, and then I had to come back and I felt so empty. And it was a very powerful experience. I have beautiful stories with the work I have done with Dick. And when the whole process got over, immediately I could not feel a difference in what I was going through, but there was something. I cannot define it even now what it was, but there was something. I felt something very strong. The next day when I came for Tools of the Spirit, I told everybody it is 70% less. And when I came, the second day of Tools of the Spirit, it was completely gone. My bleeding had completely, totally stopped, and I had not taken a medicine or seen a doctor. I knew it is psychological. I knew it was spiritual, and once I had dealt with it in my mind, the bleeding stopped. And the last day when I spoke to people, I said it has stopped, and it is such a profound shift and change inside my body. It is not possible that there cannot be a change inside my head. I'm sure there is just as much a profound change inside my head and my mind and my spirit. I cannot point on it right now, but I know something huge has happened to me today. And it has. I have changed as a person. I was a person with zero confidence and zero self-esteem. I could not speak up anywhere to anybody about anything. And I'm so different and changed now. I have got the courage to speak, and I have realized the liberation and the freedom that comes with speech. It's so important. It is so important to have somebody in your life to go to and talk. It's so important. So I hope with the story of mine, some of you would really go and talk about things that you need to talk about, that are killing your spirit, that are hurting you in some way, that is not letting you live, that is not letting you breathe, that is not letting you be honest with yourself, that is not aligning you to your higher self. It is so important to speak up. And after this happened, I actually got the courage then to speak to my very good friend, and that is when I realized how close we are. So I have this friend called Shivani, and I'm so happy that she's in my life, and I can actually speak about every nonsense that I have ever done in my life, every stupidity that I have done, every secret that I have. Even if I have sneezed someday somewhere at a wrong time on a wrong day, she knows about it. And it's so important to have that person also just as integrated as you are. I really feel I'm an integrated person, and I feel that I got this friend who is just as much integrated. I know that nothing that I have told her would ever go out, and I could go on talking to her forever. And today actually I've come to her house because I've had a real bad day and I wanted to speak to her, and I said, okay, number one, number two, I have a list, so I have to talk to you about all this. And because I found somebody like this, I can actually continue the process of healing. You know, it is so important. So I wish to show all of you who that is. So she's my best friend, Shivani. Oh God. Okay. So this happens when Shivani enters. Oh my God. This is my best friend Shivani, and this is she's one big naughty. Have a good look at her. She's very pretty, and she has started running. She's a very good runner, and she's an amazing dance teacher. If any of you really want to learn dancing with your adults or children, I think you should go to Shivani. She's amazing. She's amazing. She's amazing. And I'm really blessed to have her in my life. And I hope all of you find some Shivani in your life. It could be your mom, it could be your friend, it could be your sister, it could be your teacher, it could be your mentor, it could be your colleague, it could be anyone whom you can go to and talk. Please find somebody. Please find somebody. It's so important. I hope this helped somebody somewhere deeply just as much as it helped me. My work as a storyteller is so healing to me. So healing. This is the best that I can do with my life. Thank you.